In the world of the desperate, a single mistake can change everything. A wrong number, a mistyped digit, a text message sent to a phone that should never ring again. For Claire Ashford, that mistake became her salvation. For Dante Romano, it became his second chance. And for both of them, it became a war. The sound of a human rib snapping is distinct. It is not a clean crack, not like a dry branch breaking underfoot.
I need you here
It is something
immediately.
worse, something wet, a muffled pop that reverberates through the entire chest cavity, a sound that tells your body something fundamental has broken, something that cannot be ignored. Claire Ashford heard that sound before she felt the pain. Then the air left her lungs in a violent rush. White-hot agony radiated from her left side, spreading like fire through every nerve. The kitchen floor rose up to meet her, cold linoleum against her cheek. Black spots danced across her vision. Her medical training screamed warnings. Pneumothorax, collapsed lung, 2 hours, maybe 3, before the pressure in her chest cavity killed her. But she already knew that. She was a trauma nurse. She knew exactly what was happening inside her body, and she knew she was dying. Ryan Callahan stood over her, adjusting his cufflinks. His movements were precise, mechanical, the same movements he made every morning before heading to the precinct. Detective Ryan Callahan, badge number 4739, 8 years on the Chicago Police Department, spotless record, 3 commendations. The kind of cop citizens thanked at coffee shops. He looked down at Claire with an expression that was worse than anger. Disappointment, like she was a stain on his expensive carpet rather than his fiancée of 2 years, rather than the woman whose ribs he had just broken. Look what you made me do. His voice was calm. That was the worst part. Ryan never yelled, never screamed like the abusers in movies. He was methodical, clinical. A detective who knew exactly how to inflict pain without leaving visible marks. Usually, tonight he had lost control. Tonight there would be evidence. Claire tried to speak. Nothing came out except a wet, choking
We have a
sound.
situation.
Every
I
attempt
need
to
you here
breathe felt like
immediately.
knives twisting between her ribs. She looked up at him, at the man she had once loved, the man who had proposed to her in Grant Park on a Sunday afternoon, the man who had slowly, methodically destroyed her over the course of 24 months. His hands were shaking, just slightly, a tremor he could not quite control, post-traumatic stress disorder. The shooting incident from 3 years ago, the kid who had reached for his wallet and Ryan had seen a gun, 14 years old, dead before the ambulance arrived. Internal affairs had cleared him. The department had given him counseling, but something had broken inside Ryan Callahan that night, something that had never healed. Claire knew this. She had tried to help him, tried to be patient, tried to understand, and in return, he had made her a prisoner in her own home. I have to go to the precinct. Ryan grabbed his keys from the counter, his service weapon already holstered at his hip, his badge clipped to his belt. Detective Callahan, reporting for the late shift. Clean this up. And if you are not in bed when I get back, Claire, we will have to finish this conversation. The threat hung in the air, unspoken but crystal clear. The next time, he would not stop at broken ribs. The next time, she would not wake up. The heavy oak door slammed shut. The deadbolt slid home with a sound that made Claire flinch. That sound meant trapped. That sound meant alone. That sound meant she had 3 minutes, maybe 4, before he changed his mind and came back. She counted them by the rhythm of her terrified heart. 1, 2, 3. When she was certain he was gone, Claire Ashford began to move. Dragging herself across a kitchen floor
We
with
have a
broken ribs
situation.
and a collapsed
I
lung
need you here
is not
immediately.
something they teach in nursing school. They teach you how to stabilize patients with these injuries, how to insert chest tubes, how to manage pain. They do not teach you how to survive them alone, how to crawl across 10 feet of linoleum while your body screams that every movement might be your last. Claire moved in inches. Each shift of her weight sent fresh waves of agony through her torso. The black spots in her vision grew larger. Her breathing came in short, desperate gasps. She could feel the pressure building in her chest, the space where air should be, now filling with blood. Her medical knowledge was both a blessing and a curse. She knew exactly what was happening, exactly how little time she had. The hallway bathroom, the only room in the apartment with a lock that Ryan had not broken yet. She dragged her purse with her, the strap caught in her fingers. Inside, her phone. Her only chance. It took her 7 minutes to cross 15 feet, 7 minutes of agony, of fighting unconsciousness, of praying that Ryan would not turn around, that his shift at the precinct was real and not another manipulation. Another test. Another way to break her spirit just a little bit more. The bathroom tile was cold against her skin as she wedged herself against the vanity. Her fingers fumbled with the lock, clicked it into place. The sound brought a moment of relief. Temporary safety. A barrier between her and the man who wanted her dead. She fished her phone from her purse. The screen was cracked from where Ryan had knocked it out of her hand yesterday. Another accident, another moment of her clumsiness, according to him. But it still lit up. 11:42 at night, Thursday, the 23rd of June. Claire opened her messages with trembling hands. She had deleted most of her contacts. Ryan checked her phone every night, scrolled through her messages, her emails, her call history, looking for evidence of betrayal that existed only in his paranoid mind. So Claire had learned to erase everything, to maintain the fiction that she had no one, no support system, no escape route, but she had memorized one number. Her brother Noah, 20 years old, Northwestern University, studying engineering. The only family she had left after their parents died in a car accident 5 years ago. Noah, who called her every week from burner phones bought with his meal plan money. Noah, who begged her to leave, who promised he would protect her, who did not understand that Ryan Callahan was a decorated police detective with friends in every precinct in Chicago. Claire tried to type Noah's number from memory, 312-555-0119. But her thumb slipped. The screen was slick with blood from her split lip. Her vision was blurring, shock setting in, adrenaline fading, her body shutting down one system at a time. She hit 0117 instead of 0119. 2 digits, that was all. 2 wrong numbers that would change 3 lives forever. Claire did not notice. She just needed someone to know, someone to care, someone to tell Noah that she was sorry, that she had tried, that she loved him. Her fingers moved across the cracked screen. He broke my ribs. I can't breathe. He locked me in. Please help. 224 Oak Street, apartment 4B, code 8890. Tell Noah I'm sorry. She hit send. The phone slipped from her hand, clattered onto the bathroom tiles. Claire leaned her head back against the cabinet. Tears leaked from the corners of her eyes. The pain was becoming something else now, something distant. The pressure in her chest like a heavy weight, dragging her down into darkness. She closed her eyes, praying that Noah was awake, praying that he would see the message, praying that he would come in time. The phone buzzed. Claire jolted. Fresh agony ripped through her broken ribs. She grabbed the phone with shaking hands. Her vision swam. The letters on the screen doubled, then tripled. From unknown number. Who is this? Claire frowned. Why was Noah asking who this was? Maybe he did not have her new number saved. She had gotten this burner phone just last week. Ryan had smashed the old one during an argument about dinner. She typed back with numb fingers. It's Claire. Noah, please. I think my lung is punctured. Ryan did it. He's coming back. 3 dots appeared on the screen. Dancing, then disappearing, then appearing again. For a terrifying minute, there was nothing. Just those 3 dots blinking in and out of existence like a dying star. Had she texted the wrong person? Was this a stranger who would just ignore a wrong number? Who would roll over in bed and go back to sleep while she bled out on her bathroom floor? Then the phone buzzed again. A single sentence from the unknown number. I'm on my way. Claire let out a sum. Relief mixed with confusion. That was not how Noah texted. Noah would panic. Type in all capital letters. Ask 100 questions. But maybe the shock had made him serious. Maybe he finally understood how bad things had gotten. She waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20. The pain was getting worse. Her breathing was becoming shallow. Rapid little gasps that did not bring enough oxygen. The room was spinning, the edges of her vision going gray. Then she heard it, the sound of the front door exploding inward. Across the city, in a world that Claire Ashford did not know existed, A man sat in a study that smelled of old leather and older money. The Romano estate sprawled across 5 acres in the North Shore suburbs. Far from the noise of Chicago, far from the eyes of law enforcement, a fortress disguised as a mansion. Dante Romano was 35 years old, 6 feet 2 inches of controlled violence wrapped in a $15,000 custom suit. Dark hair swept back from a face that photographers called striking and prosecutors called menacing. Steel gray eyes that had watched men beg for their lives and felt nothing. He was the head of the Romano crime family, the youngest Don in Chicago history, a man who controlled the South Side with an iron fist wrapped in Italian leather. Protection rackets, loan sharking, gambling, construction contracts, the kind of empire built on broken bones and buried bodies. But tonight, Dante Romano was not thinking about empire. He was thinking about his uncle. Vincent Romano sat across from him, 65 years old, white hair, deep lines around his eyes. The former Don who had ruled Chicago for 30 years before retiring. The man who had raised Dante after his parents died in a car bombing when he was 16. The closest thing to a father Dante had ever known. When are you going to admit this life is not what Isabella wanted for you? Vincent's voice was gentle. It always was when he talked about Isabella, Dante's twin sister, dead for 7 years, murdered by Viktor Petrov and his Russian mob in a power play that had nearly destroyed the Romano family. Dante took a sip of scotch. Macallan, 30 years old, $2,000 a bottle. It tasted like ash in his mouth. Isabella's dead. What she wanted doesn't matter anymore. Vincent leaned forward, his hands, scarred from decades of violence, folded on the mahogany desk. You keep her phone charged. Clearly it matters. Dante said nothing. Because Vincent was right. In the bottom drawer of his desk, beneath ledgers and contracts and photographs of men who owed him money, there was a phone, an old Nokia, brick-shaped, indestructible, the phone that had belonged to Isabella Romano. For 7 years, Dante had paid the bill, every month, $70 for a line that received no calls, no texts, no voicemails, a number that existed in limbo, neither alive nor dead. Just like the hope that Dante refused to name. He told himself it was guilt, that he kept the phone active because he had failed her, because she had texted him that night 7 years ago. Dante, something's wrong, they're following me. I'm scared. And he had been in a meeting, a negotiation with a construction union that could not wait. I'll call you back in an hour, he had told her. 57 minutes later, she was dead. So he kept the phone, charged it every week, checked it every day, waiting for something that would never come, waiting for a ghost to call. Then the phone buzzed. The sound was so unexpected that Dante dropped his glass. Scotch splashed across his desk, soaked into contracts worth millions. He did not notice. His entire world had narrowed to the desk drawer, to the buzzing that should not exist. Vincent stood. Dante? Dante pulled open the drawer with hands that were suddenly unsteady.
We have a situation.
The Nokia screen glowed blue in the dim light of the study. One new message from an unknown number. For 3 years, that phone had been silent. 3 years, 2 months, and 14 days. And now, tonight, a message. Dante's hands were shaking as he unlocked the screen. He broke my ribs. I can't breathe. He locked me in. Please help. 224 Oak Street, apartment 4B, code 8890. Tell Noah I'm sorry. The words blurred. Dante blinked, read them again. This was not Isabella. Could not be Isabella. Isabella was dead. He had identified her body, had watched them lower her casket into the ground, had visited her grave every Sunday for 7 years. But someone had texted this number. Someone desperate. Someone dying. His fingers moved on autopilot. Who is this? The response came quickly. It's Claire. Noah, please. I think my lung is punctured. Ryan did it. He's coming back. Claire, not Isabella. A woman named Claire who thought she was texting someone named Noah, who had broken ribs and a punctured lung, who was locked in somewhere, who was begging for help. Dante stared at the message, at the address, Oak Street in Lincoln Park, 20 minutes away, a stranger's address, a stranger's emergency. None of his business, but that last line, tell Noah I'm sorry. Isabella's last message had said something similar. Tell Dante I love him. Tell him I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough. Vincent was beside him now, his hand on Dante's shoulder. Nephew, what is it? Dante looked at his uncle. At the man who had taught him that in their world, you helped your own and destroyed your enemies.
We have a
That
situation.
strangers were either
I need you
assets
here
or obstacles.
immediately.
That mercy was a weakness that got you killed. But Vincent had also taught him something else. That family was everything. That blood bound you to the living and the dead, that some debts could never be repaid. Dante typed a response, I'm on my way. He stood, grabbed his jacket from the back of his chair. Vincent was already moving, already understanding without words. After 40 years in this life, Vincent Romano knew when his nephew was about to do something reckless. Where are we going? Lincoln Park. Someone needs help. Vincent did not ask why, did not question. He simply nodded and followed Dante out of the study, down the marble hallway, past oil paintings of dead relatives and living enemies, past guards who snapped to attention. In the foyer, Dante pulled out his phone, the one he used for business, dialed a number that had been on speed dial for 15 years. Matteo Ricci answered on the first ring. Boss, get the team, full tactical. We're moving in 10 minutes. There was a pause. Matteo was Dante's head of security, ex-Marine, ex-Special Forces, a man who had seen combat in 3 countries and never questioned an order. But even he hesitated at this. Moving where? Dante gave him the address, the apartment number, the access code. Someone texted Isabella's number. Another pause. Longer this time. Everyone in the Romano family knew about the phone. The shrine to a dead woman. The guilt that ate at their boss like cancer. Boss, it could be a trap. I know. And you're going anyway. Yes, Matteo sighed. The sound of a man who knew better than to argue. 8 minutes. The line went dead. Vincent and Dante walked to the garage.
We have a situation.
6 cars, all black, all armored, all registered to shell companies that could never be traced back to the Romano family. Vincent climbed into the lead Mercedes. Dante took the driver's seat. As they pulled out of the estate, past the iron gates and the armed guards, Vincent turned to his nephew. Do you think it's really her? Isabella? Dante's hands tightened on the steering wheel. No, Isabella's dead. This is someone else. Then why are we doing this? Because 7 years ago, I didn't go when she called. I said I'd be there in an hour. And she died waiting. Dante's voice was flat, emotionless. The voice he used when sentencing men to death. Whoever this woman is, she texted a dead girl's phone. She asked for help. And this time, I'm not going to be an hour late. The Mercedes accelerated into the night. Behind them, 2 more SUVs fell into formation. Matteo and his team, 6 men, assault rifles, body armor, the kind of response you brought to a war. They drove in silence, through suburbs that became neighborhoods that became streets where the American dream looked a little more desperate, where buildings needed paint and cars needed repair and dreams got deferred 1 paycheck at a time. Dante's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, a text from his intelligence officer. Address confirmed, building owned by Midwest Property Management. Tenant in 4B is Claire Ashford, 28, trauma nurse at Northwestern Memorial. No criminal record, no known associates with organized crime. But the apartment is also listed as the residence of Ryan Callahan, Detective Chicago PD, and boss. Callahan's name is on the Petrov payroll. Dante's blood went cold. Viktor Petrov, the Russian mob boss who had killed Isabella, who had tortured her for information about the Romano family operations, who had sent Dante pieces of his sister's jewelry with notes that promised he was next. And now Dante was driving into an apartment registered to one of Petrov's paid informants. Matteo's voice crackled over the car's radio. Boss, we've got a problem. Ryan Callahan just pinged at a location on the south side. Warehouse district. He's meeting someone. Who? Russian. One of Petrov's lieutenants. Yuri Volkov. Dante processed this. A cop on Petrov's payroll. A woman texting for help. An address that put them right in the middle of Russian territory. Every instinct screamed trap. Ambush, suicide, do we abort? Vincent was looking at him, waiting, ready to follow whatever decision Dante made, because that was what family did. They followed you into hell and asked questions later. Dante thought about Isabella, about her last text, about the hour he had wasted, about the way she must have waited, hoped, believed that her brother would come, that he would save her. No, we go. The convoy reached Lincoln Park at 12:23 in the morning. The street was quiet, working-class neighborhood, cars from the 90s and early 2000s, windows dark, people who had to work in the morning and could not afford to stay up late. Building 224 was 6 stories, brick facade, fire escape on the side. The kind of building where the elevator broke twice a month and the landlord took 3 weeks to fix anything. Mateo's team deployed with military precision, 2 men on the street, 2 covering the back exit, Mateo, Dante, and Vincent moving toward the entrance. The access code worked, 8890. The door clicked, open. No elevator, Mateo observed. Dante was already moving toward the stairs. They climbed in silence. 6 flights. Dante's breathing never changed. Years of training, of violence, of turning his body into a weapon. But his heart was pounding, adrenaline singing in his veins. 4th floor, 6th floor. The hallway was dimly lit, flickering fluorescent that needed replacing. Smells of cooking, curry, garlic, frying oil. The symphony of a building where a dozen cultures tried to make home in America. Apartment 4B. The door was cheap wood, multiple locks, a chain, the kind of security that said the person inside was afraid. Dante knocked. 3 sharp raps. A voice from inside. Female. Rafita. Who is it? Dante made his voice gentle, calm, the voice he used when he needed people to trust him. Ma'am, I received your message. About Noah. I'm here to help. A pause. He could hear movement inside. Slow, painful. I don't know you. You texted this number asking for help. I'm here. Another pause. Longer. That's not the right number. I texted my brother. I'm sorry, wrong number. Dante looked at Vincent. His uncle's face was unreadable, but his hand had moved to the gun under his jacket. Professional, automatic. 40 years of survival instincts. From inside, a new voice. Smaller. A child's voice. Mama, is someone going to help us? That voice, that age, that fear. Something in Dante's chest cracked. A fissure in the ice he had built around his heart. Break it down. Mateo moved forward. Ex-Marine, ex-Special Forces. A man who had kicked down doors in Fallujah and Kandahar.
We have a situation.
One strike.
I need
The
you
cheap
here
wood splintered.
immediately.
The chain ripped from its mooring. The door swung open. Dante entered first. The apartment was small, clean, too clean. The kind of clean that came from fear, from knowing that anything out of place would be punished. A living room with secondhand furniture, a kitchen with dishes drying in a rack, a hallway leading to what must be the bathroom. The bathroom door was closed. Dante moved toward it, Mateo covering him, Vincent checking the rest of the apartment. The bathroom door was locked. Ma'am, I'm coming in. No response. Dante kicked the door. It flew open, and he saw her. Claire Ashford was on the bathroom floor, curled against the vanity. Her face was pale, blood on her lips. Her left side held at an unnatural angle. The way people held broken ribs. The way people held punctured lungs. Her eyes were green, wide with terror, with pain, with confusion. And beside her, in the corner, a young woman. 17, maybe 18. Dark hair pulled back, holding a stuffed rabbit like a talisman, looking at Dante with eyes that were milky white. From inside, a new voice, younger, scared but not childish. Mama, is someone going to help us? Dante crouched down, slowly, making himself smaller, less threatening, his $15,000 suit touching the dirty bathroom tile. Claire was staring at him, recognition flickering across her face. You're Dante Romano. Yes, you're a criminal. Yes, why did you come? Because you asked for help. I texted my brother. You texted my sister's phone. She died 7 years ago.
We have a situation.
But you asked for
I need
help.
you here immediately.
And I'm here. Claire's breathing was rapid, shallow. Medical shock setting in. Dante had seen enough violence to recognize the signs. She had minutes, not hours. He looked at Mateo. Call Dr. Aris. Tell him to prep the surgical suite. Now. Mateo was already on his phone. Vincent moved past Dante, knelt beside the young woman with the stuffed rabbit. What's your name, child? Her voice was small, scared. Lily, Are you here to hurt my sister? Vincent's voice was impossibly gentle. No, Piccola, we're here to help. Dante turned back to Claire. Your ribs are broken. Your lung is collapsed. You need surgery. I have a doctor. I'm taking you to him. Claire's eyes widened. I can't afford it. I'm not asking you to pay. I don't know you. You texted me for help. I'm providing it. Claire tried to speak, coughed instead. Blood flecked her lips. Time was running out. Dante made a decision, the kind of decision that Vincent had taught him to make quickly and without doubt. He reached down, slid one arm under Claire's knees, the other behind her back, lifted her as gently as he could. She cried out, the movement jostling her broken ribs. Her head fell against his chest. He could feel her breathing. Fast, desperate, fighting for every breath. I've got you. You're safe now. Vincent lifted Lily. The young woman did not protest, just clutched her rabbit and buried her face in Vincent's shoulder. They moved through the apartment, out into the hallway. And that was when Dante saw her. An old woman, Polish by the look of her, 70s, standing in the doorway of apartment 1A, watching, her eyes sharp, calculating.
I need you
the
here
kind of eyes that had
immediately.
seen too much and remembered everything. Their eyes met. Dante's voice was not a request. You didn't see anything. The woman nodded, once, sharp, understood. She closed her door, but Dante knew. Before the lock clicked, before the light under her door went dark, he knew that woman would make a phone call, would tell someone, would set in motion events that could not be stopped. The convoy was waiting. 3 black SUVs, engines running, doors open. Dante carried Claire to the middle vehicle, slid into the back seat, kept her cradled against his chest. Vincent climbed in with Lily. Matteo took the front passenger seat. The driver accelerated before the doors fully closed. They pulled away from Oak Street at 12:41 in the morning. Behind them, in apartment 1A, Mrs. Kowalski picked up her phone. She had 2 calls to make. The first was to her grandson, a reporter at the Chicago Tribune, who would pay very well for photos of Dante Romano carrying a mysterious woman and a blind girl out of a Lincoln Park apartment. The second call was to a number she had been given 6 months ago, along with $500 in cash and a promise of $500 more every month. All she had to do was watch apartment 4B and call if anything unusual happened. The number belonged to a man named Yuri Volkov, who worked for Viktor Petrov, who had been waiting 7 years for another chance at Dante Romano. Mrs. Kowalski made both calls, and across the city, in a warehouse on the south side, Yuri Volkov smiled. Finally, he thought. Finally, Dante Romano had given him a weakness, a woman and a child. All he had to do now was take them. The Romano estate sat on 5 acres of manicured grounds 30 miles north of Chicago.
We have a situation.
From the
I
street,
need
it
you
looked
here
like old money.
immediately.
Ivy-covered stone walls, iron gates with the family crest, gardens designed by architects who charged more per hour than most men made in a week. The kind of place where senators held fundraisers and CEOs played golf. But the walls were reinforced concrete. The windows were bulletproof. The gardens had sight lines carefully calculated for defensive fire. And the men in groundskeeper uniforms carried weapons under their jackets. It was a fortress pretending to be a mansion. The convoy pulled through the gates at 1:17 in the morning. Security had been alerted. The private surgical suite was ready. Dr. Aris was waiting in the foyer, still in his pajamas but carrying his medical bag. 72 years old, silver hair, steady hands that had performed surgery in Vietnam, in Chicago emergency rooms, and for the last 20 years, for the Romano family. He did not ask questions. That was why Dante paid him $500,000 a year on retainer, for his skill and his silence. Claire Ashford was unconscious by the time they carried her inside. Her breathing was rapid and shallow. Her lips were turning blue. Hypoxia. Oxygen deprivation. Doctor. Aris took one look and started barking orders. Get her to the surgical suite. Now. I need blood. Oh, negative. And somebody call my surgical nurse. Vincent carried Lily into the house behind them. The young woman was still clutching her stuffed rabbit, still blind, still terrified. But she had not cried, had not screamed, just held on to Vincent like he was the only solid thing in a world that had turned liquid. Vincent took her to the library, sat her down in a leather chair that
We
cost
have a
more than most
situation.
cars,
I need you
spoke to
here
her in Italian,
immediately.
then English, his voice soft. You are safe here, Piccola. Your sister is with a very good doctor. He will fix her. Lily's milky eyes stared in Vincent's general direction. Are you Mafia? Vincent paused, considered lying, then decided this young woman deserved truth. Yes. The cops say Mafia are bad men. Some are, some are not. The world is more complicated than the police would like you to believe. Lily was quiet for a moment, her fingers stroking the rabbit's ears. A nervous gesture. Comforting. My sister always said the same thing, that the world was complicated, that good people sometimes do bad things, and bad people sometimes do good things. Vincent smiled. It was a sad smile, the smile of a man who had lived long enough to know the girl was right. Your sister is very wise. The surgical suite was in the East Wing, a room that looked more like a hospital operating theater than part of a private home. Stainless steel, bright lights, monitors that beeped and hummed, equipment that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Dr. Aris worked quickly. His nurse, a woman named Patricia, who had been with him for 30 years, assisted. They moved with the synchronized precision of people who had done this 1,000 times, who had saved lives in conditions far worse than a well-equipped private surgical suite. Dante watched from the observation window. His suit jacket was gone, his shirt sleeves rolled up, blood on his hands from carrying Claire. He had not washed it off yet, could not make himself move. Matteo stood beside him, silent, alert, always watching, always ready. Vincent joined them after settling Lily in the library with hot chocolate and a blanket. The girl asked good questions. Dante did not take his eyes off the surgery.
We have a situation.
She's blind.
I need you here
Yes,
immediately.
since birth, I think. But she sees more than most people with working eyes. Through the glass, they watched Dr. Aris insert a chest tube between Claire's ribs. Blood and air bubbled out. Her oxygen levels immediately began to improve on the monitor. 3 fractured ribs, left lung collapsed, minor liver contusion from the rib fragments. She's lucky. Another hour and the pressure would have stopped her heart. Dante's hands curled into fists. The detective, Ryan Callahan. Vincent nodded. A coward who beats women, the lowest form of life. He's also on Petrov's payroll. That got Matteo's attention. Viktor Petrov? The Russian? The same. Then this is a trap, a setup to draw you out. Dante finally turned from the window, looked at his head of security. A trap requires intent. This woman doesn't know who I am, doesn't know about Isabella. She texted the wrong number. Matteo's expression was skeptical. Boss, with respect, there's no such thing as coincidence in our business. Maybe not. But look at her. They all turned back to the surgical theater. Claire Ashford was unconscious on the table. Broken, vulnerable. A stranger who had stumbled into their world by accident. That woman is not a player in Petrov's game. She's a victim, and now she's under our protection. Vincent placed a hand on Dante's shoulder. Like Isabella? Dante was quiet for a long moment. Isabella gave up. At the end, she stopped fighting. They tortured her for 3 days and she never told them anything. But she gave up on living. This woman, she crawled across her apartment with broken ribs, locked herself in a bathroom,
We have a
texted for
situation.
help.
I need
She
you
fought.
here immediately.
That's the difference. Claire woke slowly. The first thing she registered was the absence of pain, not complete absence. There was a dull ache in her left side, but nothing like the white-hot agony of broken ribs and a collapsed lung. Whatever drugs they had given her, they were good. The second thing she registered was the smell. Lavender, antiseptic, clean linen, not the industrial smell of a hospital. Something more expensive, more private. She opened her eyes. The room was beautiful. High ceilings with crown molding. A crystal chandelier dimmed to a soft glow. Silk curtains. Original artwork on the walls. The bed she was lying in was massive. California King with a mattress that probably cost more than her car. This was not Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Claire tried to sit up. Her ribs protested but allowed it. Someone had wrapped them professionally. She looked down at herself, wearing silk pajamas, dark blue, perfectly fitted, not hospital gowns. Where was she? The door opened. An older man entered, white coat over a dress shirt, silver-rimmed glasses, medical bag in hand. He had the calm confidence of a doctor who had seen everything and could fix most of it. Miss Ashford, good to see you awake. I'm Dr. Eris. How are you feeling? Claire's voice was hoarse. Where am I? You're at the Romano estate. You've been unconscious for 62 hours. I repaired your pneumothorax and stabilized your rib fractures. You were very lucky. Another hour and you would have died. The Romano estate, Dante Romano, the Mafia boss who had carried her out of her apartment, the man who had saved her life. Lily, where's
We have a
Lily?
situation.
Dr.
I need
Eris
you
smiled.
here
Your sister
immediately.
is safe. She's been asking about you every few hours. Quite insistent for such a young woman. I need to see her. You will. First, let me examine you. Dr. Eris checked her vitals, her breathing, the surgical incision where the chest tube had been. Everything was healing well. He prescribed rest, pain medication, and strict limitations on physical activity for at least 2 weeks. You're a nurse, so you understand the recovery process. Listen to your body. Push too hard and you'll tear something open. Claire nodded, but her mind was racing, racing with questions, racing with fear, racing with the memory of Ryan's fists and the sound of her ribs breaking. Doctor, how did they find me? How did they know? Dr. Eris's expression shifted, became more guarded. I think that's a question for Mr. Romano. They brought Claire to the library in a wheelchair. Her ribs could not handle the stairs yet. Vincent pushed her, moving slowly, talking to her in his gentle way about the history of the house, the artwork, the books, anything to put her at ease. The library was 2 stories tall, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a rolling ladder, leather armchairs, a fireplace where a fire crackled, despite it being June. The air conditioning kept the room comfortable while the fire provided ambiance. Dante was standing by the window, looking out at the grounds. He turned when they entered. Claire saw him properly for the first time. In her apartment, through the haze of pain and shock, he had looked like a dark angel, terrifying and beautiful. Now, in daylight streaming through the windows, she could see the details. 6 feet 2 inches, broad shoulders, perfectly tailored clothes,
We have a
dark hair with
situation.
just a touch
I
of
need you
gray at
here
the temples,
immediately.
eyes that were gray like storm clouds. The kind of eyes that had seen violence and inflicted it, but his voice, when he spoke, was gentle. Miss Ashford, you're looking better? Lily was there too, sitting in a chair by the fire. She turned toward Claire's voice before Claire said anything, that preternatural awareness that blind people developed. Claire? Claire felt tears burning her eyes. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm okay. Lily stood, moved across the room with the confidence of someone who had already memorized the layout. She found Claire's chair, knelt beside it, took Claire's hands. I was so scared. They said you almost died, but I didn't. I'm here. Vincent touched Lily's shoulder. Come, Piccola, let's give your sister and Mr. Romano a few minutes to talk. Lily hesitated, then nodded. Let Vincent guide her from the library. The door closed with a soft click. Claire and Dante were alone. The silence stretched. Claire broke it first. Thank you for saving us. You texted my sister's phone. I know, wrong number. Was it? Claire frowned. What do you mean? Dante moved away from the window, sat in the chair across from her. There was something in his posture, something heavy, grief that had calcified into weight. 7 years ago, my sister Isabella was killed, murdered by a man named Viktor Petrov, a Russian mobster who wanted information about my operations. She was my twin. The only family I had besides my Uncle Vincent. I'm sorry, I kept her phone active, paid the bill every month. I told myself it was for closure. But closure is a lie. I kept it because I couldn't let go. Because the last time
We
she
have a
texted me
situation.
asking
I
for
need
help,
you here
I said I'd
immediately.
be there in an hour. She was dead in 57 minutes. Claire's chest tightened. Not from her ribs, from understanding. So when I texted asking for help, you came immediately. I came because I couldn't stand the thought of being too late again, even for a stranger. I'm not Isabella. No, you're not. Isabella gave up at the end. You fought. That's why you're still alive. Claire looked down at her hands, bandaged, bruised, the hands that had crawled across a kitchen floor. That had typed a text message to the wrong number. What happens now? Dante leaned forward, his elbows on his knees, his gray eyes locked on hers. That depends. Do you want to go back to Ryan Callahan? No. Then you need to understand something. Ryan isn't just an abusive cop. He's on Viktor Petrov's payroll, has been for 2 years. Gambling debts, $300,000. He's been feeding Petrov information about police operations in exchange for money. Claire felt cold. How do you know this? Because Viktor Petrov is the man who killed my sister. I've been tracking his operations for 7 years, waiting for a chance to destroy him. And now you've walked right into the middle of that war. I don't understand. Ryan knows you're here. By now, Viktor knows too. They can't let you stay. Your evidence of Ryan's abuse, evidence that could end his career. And if Ryan goes down, he'll take Viktor's operation with him. So they'll come for me. Yes, Claire's breathing quickened, panic clawing at her chest. Then I need to leave. Take Lily and disappear. You could do that. I could give you new identities, money, a plane to anywhere in the world.
We have a
You'd
situation.
be safe.
I
Probably.
need you here immediately.
Probably? Viktor Petrov has a long reach, and he's patient. If he wants you dead, he'll wait years for the right moment. So what are you suggesting? That you stay. Let me protect you. And we end this together. Claire stared at Dante Romano, at the Mafia boss who had saved her life, who was offering her protection, who was asking her to trust him. Waitress, why do you care what happens to me? Dante stood, walked to the fireplace, stared into the flames. Because for 7 years, I've been a ghost, alive but not living. I built an empire, made money, buried enemies, but none of it meant anything. Isabella was dead, and I was just going through motions. He turned to face her. Then your text came through. And for the first time since she died, I felt something. Purpose, a chance to do what I failed to do for her. To actually save someone. I'm not your redemption, Mr. Romano. No, you're not. But maybe we can redeem each other. Before Claire could respond, the door opened. A young man rushed in, 20 years old, lean, wearing a Northwestern hoodie, dark hair in need of a cut, eyes wild with fear and relief. Claire, Noah. Her brother crossed the room in 3 strides, dropped to his knees beside her wheelchair, grabbed her hands. Jesus Christ, Claire. I thought you were dead. Mrs. Kowalski texted me and said Dante Romano took you, and I didn't know if that meant you were safe or if you were about to be killed, and I've been going crazy for 3 days. I'm okay. I'm safe. Noah looked up at Dante, his expression shifting from relief to suspicion. You're the mob boss. Yes. Why did you help her? Because she
We have a
asked.
situation.
That's not
I
an
need
answer.
you
It's the
here
only one I have.
immediately.
Vincent entered behind Noah, placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. Your sister is under our protection now. As are you. The Romano family does not abandon those we've taken in. Noah stood, faced Vincent, then Dante. Claire could see him processing, trying to understand this world he had been thrown into. What about Ryan? He's a cop. He has the whole department behind him. Dante's expression went cold. Ryan Callahan is on borrowed time. He touched what's mine now. That's a death sentence. Claire felt something shift in the room. Something dangerous. She spoke quickly. Wait, I don't want him dead. I want him in prison. I want him to face justice. Real justice. Dante looked at her. Really looked at her. And Claire saw something in his eyes. Respect. You want the system to punish him? Yes, even though the system has protected him for 2 years, even though his fellow cops know what he is and look the other way, especially because of that. If he just disappears, they'll call him a hero, a victim. But if he goes to trial, if the evidence is public, then everyone will know the truth. Dante was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. All right, we do it your way, but first you need to heal. And while you heal, we prepare. Because when Viktor Petrov comes, and he will come, we need to be ready. Claire's body healed faster than expected. Youth and physical fitness helped. By day 10, she could walk without pain. By day 12, she could climb stairs. Dr. Aris was amazed. You have the recovery rate of an athlete. I was a trauma nurse. I've seen too many people die to not fight for my own life.
We have
But
a
healing
situation.
physically was not
I
enough.
need you here
Dante made that
immediately.
clear. He found her in the library one morning. She was reading, trying to lose herself in fiction, trying not to think about Ryan, about Viktor, about the fact that somewhere out there, powerful men wanted her dead. Come with me. Where? The gym. The Romano Estate gym was in the basement. It looked like something from a professional training facility. Weight racks, punching bags, a boxing ring, mats for grappling, and weapons, locked in glass cases but visible. Guns, knives, tactical equipment. Claire stopped in the doorway. What is this? Dante was already inside, wearing workout clothes, not the expensive suits, just black athletic gear that showed the lean muscle underneath. This is where I'm going to teach you to survive. I don't need to learn how to fight. I need to hide until Ryan is arrested. You think hiding will save you? Viktor Petrov has been hunting me for 7 years. If he wants you, no amount of hiding will protect you. But if you can fight, if you can defend yourself, then at least you have a chance. Claire looked at the equipment, at the weapons, at Dante standing in the center of the room like a soldier ready for war. I'm a nurse. I heal people. I don't hurt them. Ryan hurt you. And he'll hurt Lily if he gets the chance. Do you want to be helpless when that happens? Or do you want to be able to stop him? Claire's hands clenched into fists. The memory of Ryan's boot in her ribs, the sound of bones breaking, the feeling of drowning in her own blood. Teach me. Matteo Ricci became Claire's primary instructor. 40 years old, built like a truck, covered in scars from wars in countries most Americans could not find on a map. He had been
We have a
teaching
situation.
hand-to-hand
I
combat
need
since he
you
was
here
23.
immediately.
His approach was brutal in its honesty. I'm not going to teach you to win fights. I'm going to teach you to survive them. There's a difference. He taught her pressure points, how a thumb in the right spot could drop a man twice her size. He taught her how to use an attacker's momentum against them, how to break holds, how to escape grabs. In a real fight, there's no fair. There's only alive and dead. You bite, you claw, you go for the eyes and throat and groin. You do whatever it takes to survive. Understand? Yes, he taught her weapons, how to hold a knife properly, how to fire a handgun, how to reload under stress, how to clear jams. Every weapon is a tool. Respect it. Don't fear it. Noah joined some of the training sessions. He was learning too. Matteo treated him like a soldier, pushed him hard. No mercy for youth or inexperience. But it was Vincent who taught Claire the most important lessons. Not about fighting, about understanding. They sat in the library one evening, Vincent with his espresso, Claire with tea, Lily between them listening to an audiobook on headphones. You're trying to understand my nephew. Yes, he's a complicated man, born into this life, raised in violence. But he has a code. Honor, loyalty, family, those things matter to him more than money or power. He killed people. Yes, he has. Men who tried to kill him first, men who hurt innocents, men who broke the rules of our world. But he's never hurt a woman, never hurt a child, never betrayed someone under his protection. That doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't. But it makes it understandable. The world is not black and white, Claire.
I need you here
It's 1,000
immediately.
shades of gray. And sometimes survival means making deals with the devil. On the 14th night, Dante invited Claire to dinner. Not in the formal dining room, in his private quarters, a smaller table, intimate. Claire wore a dress that had appeared in her closet. Emerald silk, expensive, perfectly fitted. She had no idea where it came from, but wearing it made her feel different, powerful, like someone who belonged in this world. Dante was waiting, black shirt, no tie. He looked younger without the formal suits, more human. The dinner was Italian, homemade pasta, wine that cost more than Claire's monthly rent. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Dante spoke. Vincent tells me you are learning quickly. Matteo's a good teacher. He says you have instincts, natural talent for reading people, anticipating movements. I'm a trauma nurse. Reading patients is part of the job, knowing when someone is about to crash, when they're hiding pain. It translates. Dante nodded, poured more wine. There's something you should know. Viktor Petrov made contact. He wants to negotiate. For what? For you. He's offering me territory, money, peace. All I have to do is give you and Lily back to Ryan. Claire's blood went cold. And I told him no. Why? Because you're under my protection. I don't negotiate for family. I'm not your family. You are now. The words hung between them, heavy, meaningful. Claire looked at Dante, really looked at him. This man who was a criminal, a killer, but also her protector, her savior. What's Victor's next move? He'll come for you, force the issue, probably within the next few days.
We have a situation.
How can you be so calm
here
about
immediately.
this? Because I've been waiting 7 years for Victor to give me an excuse to end him. You're not bait, Claire. You're the catalyst, the thing that's finally going to let me finish what he started when he killed Isabella. So I'm just a tool in your revenge. Dante put down his wine glass, leaned forward, his gray eyes intense. No, you're a woman who deserves justice, and I'm going to make sure you get it, whether that's through the courts or through a bullet. But it's your choice. Tell me how you want this to end. Claire thought about Ryan, about the 2 years of abuse, the isolation, the fear, about Lily growing up thinking the world was a place where violence was normal, where men hurt women and nothing changed. I want him in prison. I want everyone to know what he did. I want other women to see that even cops, even men with power, can be held accountable. Then that's what we'll do. Before Claire could respond, the lights went out. The Romano estate had backup generators. They should have kicked in within 3 seconds. They did not. Dante was on his feet instantly, moving with the fluid grace of someone trained for violence. Stay down. He pulled a gun from somewhere. Claire had not even seen where he kept it, but now it was in his hand. Black metal, deadly, glass shattered, multiple windows, coordinated, professional. Then the sound of gunfire. The estate was under attack. Mateo's voice crackled over a radio. Boss, perimeter breached. 20+ hostiles. They cut the power from outside. Dante grabbed Claire's arm, pulled her toward the door. We need to move. Now, where's Lily? With Vincent. He'll protect her. They ran through darkened hallways. Emergency lighting kicked in.
We have a situation.
Red lights.
I need you here
making everything
immediately.
look like a crime scene, like a slaughterhouse. More gunfire. Closer now. The attackers were inside. Mateo appeared, 2 other men with him, all armed, all moving with military precision. Boss, we need to get you to the panic room. No. The roof, helicopter. Roof's exposed. They'll pick us off. Then we fight our way there. They moved as a unit. Dante in the center, Claire beside him, Mateo and his men forming a protective shell, moving through the house toward the service stairs that led to the roof. 3rd floor, 4th floor, gunfire echoing below them. Then Claire heard it, a voice over the estate's intercom system. Russian accent, smooth, dangerous. Dante Romano, I'm here for the girl. Give her to me and your men live. Refuse and I burn your empire to the ground. It was Victor Petrov. Then another voice, American, slurred, desperate. Claire, baby, come out. It's over. Just come out and we can go home. I'll forgive you. We can fix this, Ryan. Claire felt her knees go weak. Dante caught her, held her upright. He's here, Ryan's here. Yes, I can't face him. You don't have to. I'll kill him first. No. If he dies, I never get justice. We need him alive. Dante looked at her, something like admiration in his eyes. Then we take him alive. They reached the 5th floor, one more flight to the roof, but blocking the stairway were 3 men, Russian, armed with automatic weapons. Mateo opened fire first. The Russians dove for cover. Bullets tore through walls. Plaster dust filled the air. Claire crouched low, hands over her head, her nurse training screaming at her to run toward the wounded, to help.
I need you here
But Dante
immediately.
held her back. The firefight lasted 30 seconds. Felt like hours. When it ended, 2 Russians were dead. The 3rd was wounded. Mateo zip-tied his hands while one of the other soldiers covered them. They moved past the bodies. Claire tried not to look. Failed. These were the first dead people she had seen since that night in the trauma bay when a gunshot victim had died on her table. That had been clean, clinical. This was raw, real. Blood and brain matter painting the walls. She stumbled. Dante caught her again. Don't look, just keep moving. They burst onto the roof. The night air was cold. Storm clouds overhead. No stars, no moon, just darkness and the distant sound of sirens. Noah and Vincent were already there, Lily between them. The blind girl clutched her stuffed rabbit. Her face was pale but calm, braver than Claire felt. A helicopter hovered 50 feet away. Silas at the control, Dante's personal pilot, a man who had flown missions in Afghanistan and Iraq before retiring to fly billionaires and criminals. The chopper moved closer, started to descend. Then Claire saw them. Ryan Callahan stepped out from behind the rooftop access structure. 2 Russian soldiers with him. Ryan looked like death, bandages on his hands from where Dante had broken them 2 weeks ago. His face was gaunt, eyes wild, the face of a man who had lost everything. Behind them, more men poured onto the roof. At least 10, armed, ready. They were surrounded. Viktor Petrov emerged last. Tall, silver hair, expensive suit. The kind of man who looked like he belonged at the opera, not a rooftop firefight.
We have a situation.
He smiled.
I need you
A
here
predator's smile.
immediately.
Mr. Romano, how dramatic. But I'm afraid your helicopter won't be arriving. On cue, the helicopter pulled back. Silas's voice over the radio. Boss, surface-to-air missile locked on me. I have to pull back or they'll shoot me down. Dante's grip on his gun tightened. They were trapped. Victor stepped forward. Now, give me the girl, or I start killing your people, starting with the old man. One of the Russians pressed a gun to Vincent's temple. Dante's face was stone, but Claire saw his hand trembling. Just slightly. Vincent was the only family he had left. Claire made a decision. She stepped forward. Out of Dante's protective grasp. Wait. Everyone froze. Claire walked toward Victor. Hands up, unarmed. I'll go with you. Just don't hurt them. Don't hurt Lily. Don't hurt anyone. I'll go. Victor smiled wider. How noble. The broken bird wants to save the wolves. Very well. He reached for her. And that was when everything exploded into chaos. Claire stepped toward Viktor Petrov with her hands raised, surrendering, sacrificing herself to save the people who had protected her. It was the kind of nobility that got you killed. But Dante Romano had not survived 15 years as a crime boss by letting people sacrifice themselves for him. His hand moved to his belt, not for a gun, for something smaller. Something Matteo had given him years ago for situations exactly like this. A flashbang grenade, military grade. The kind that caused temporary blindness and deafness. The kind that turned a controlled situation into chaos. He pulled the pin. Claire, get down.
We have
She
a
dropped
situation.
instantly.
I need you here
Nurse training.
immediately.
When someone screamed an order in a crisis, you obeyed first and asked questions later. The grenade hit the rooftop between Victor's men and Dante's group. The explosion was not fire. It was light and sound, a supernova compressed into 3 seconds. Brighter than staring at the sun. Louder than standing next to a jet engine. Every person on that rooftop who was looking at the grenade was instantly blind. Every person within 20 feet was deaf. Chaos. The Russians were trained. Professional. But training meant nothing when your senses stopped working. They fired blindly. Bullets ricocheted off concrete and steel. One of Victor's own men took a round in the leg, fell, screaming. Dante moved through the chaos like a ghost. He had closed his eyes before the flash, covered his ears. He could see, he could hear, and he was already killing. The first Russian went down with a bullet through the throat. The second took 2 rounds to the chest. The third tried to aim, but Dante was already behind him. A knife appeared in Dante's hand. Where it came from, Claire could not see. But suddenly the Russian was on the ground with blood pooling beneath him. Matteo and his men were moving too. Coordinated, professional, taking down targets with the efficiency of soldiers who had done this 100 times before. But there were too many Russians. Vincent grabbed Lily, pulled her toward the rooftop access door. Noah followed. They needed to get the blind girl out of the line of fire. Claire was frozen. The flashbang had not hit her directly, but the residual light and sound had left her disoriented. Her vision was blurred. Her ears were ringing. She saw Dante fighting, saw Matteo take a bullet to the shoulder and keep moving, saw the helicopter trying to circle back despite the missile threat.
Immediately.
Then she saw Ryan. Detective Ryan Callahan was stumbling toward her. His hands were still bandaged from where Dante had broken them, but he had a gun, held awkwardly, aimed at her. His mouth was moving, screaming something, but Claire could not hear through the ringing in her ears. She read his lips. You did this. You ruined everything. The gun was shaking in his grip. Claire should have run, should have screamed for help, but something else took over. Something that had been building for 2 years, rage, pure and focused. She charged him. Ryan was not expecting it. The broken hands made his grip weak. Claire grabbed the gun. They struggled. She used the techniques Mateo had taught her, found the pressure points, twisted. Ryan screamed. The gun clattered to the rooftop. Then Claire hit him. Her fist connected with his jaw. Pain exploded through her hand, but she did not care. She hit him again and again. All the fear, all the nights of terror, all the times he had hurt her and she had been too afraid to fight back. It poured out of her in violence. Ryan fell, blood streaming from his nose. Claire stood over him, breathing hard. Her hand was probably broken, but she felt powerful, alive. Dante appeared beside her, blood on his face but not his own. He looked at Ryan on the ground, then at Claire. Good. The helicopter was descending again. Silas had taken a risk, brought it low despite the missile threat. The side door was open. Mateo was already ushering Vincent, Noah, and Lily inside. Dante grabbed Claire's arm. We need to go, now. What about Victor? Dante pointed. Across the rooftop, Victor Petrov was being dragged away by his remaining men.
I need you here immediately.
Retreating. He had lost too many soldiers. The attack had failed. He'll come again, but not tonight. They ran for the helicopter. Ryan was still on the ground, conscious but broken. One of Mateo's men zip-tied his hands. Another called the police. Anonymous tip. Dirty cop on Romano property. Evidence of his abuse documented. Photographs of Claire's injuries. Medical reports from Dr. Aris. Ryan Callahan's career was over, even if he survived the night. The helicopter lifted off as more gunfire erupted below. Claire looked down at the Romano estate. Smoke rising from multiple buildings, bodies scattered across the grounds. The war between Dante Romano and Victor Petrov had finally become visible, and she was the reason. They flew north, into Wisconsin, away from Chicago, away from the police and the Russians and the media that would descend on the estate by morning. Silas landed the helicopter in a clearing near a lake. There was a building, small, rustic, a hunting cabin that the Romano family owned through a shell corporation. Inside was basic but clean. Mateo secured the perimeter, set up motion sensors, prepared defensive positions. He was moving stiffly. The bullet wound in his shoulder was bleeding through his jacket. Claire's medical training kicked in. Sit down. Let me look at that. I'm fine. You're bleeding. Sit. Mateo looked at Dante. The boss nodded. Mateo sat. Claire examined the wound. Through and through, the bullet had missed the bone and major arteries. Lucky, but it needed cleaning and stitches. I need supplies. Medical kit, antiseptic, sutures. Vincent was already moving. He had grabbed the trauma bag from the helicopter. The Romano family always traveled prepared for violence. The bag contained everything a field medic would need. Claire worked quickly, cleaned the wound, irrigated it, stitched it closed with practiced precision. Mateo did not make a sound, just watched her work with professional respect. You're good at this. Trauma nurse, I've stitched up worse in the ER, she finished. Bandaged the shoulder, gave him antibiotics from the kit. Then she turned to check the others. Lily was unharmed, scared but unharmed. Vincent had a cut on his forehead from flying glass. Minor. Noah had twisted his ankle running. He would limp for a few days, but nothing serious. Then Claire saw Dante. He was sitting against the wall, pale. His black shirt was darker on the left side. Wet. Blood. You're hit. Dante looked down at himself like he had forgotten. Grazed. It's nothing. Claire crossed to him, knelt down, lifted his shirt. It was not a graze, it was a through and through, lower left abdomen. The bullet had missed vital organs, but it was still serious. He was losing blood, lots of it. This needs surgery, real surgery. Hospital? No hospital. They'll ask questions. Then you need Dr. Aris. He's at the estate. We can't go back there. Claire looked at the wound, at the blood, at Dante's face growing paler. She made a decision. Then I'll do it. Everyone in the room stopped. Dante's eyes focused on her. You're a trauma nurse, not a surgeon. I've assisted in hundreds of surgeries. I know what to do, and if I don't do it, you'll bleed out in the next 2 hours. Dante was quiet, then nodded. All right, what do you need? They cleared the cabin's dining table, laid Dante on it, Vincent boiled water. Noah organized supplies. Mateo stood guard at the window
We have a
despite his own
situation.
injury.
I need you
Claire
here
scrubbed her hands,
immediately.
pulled on surgical gloves from the trauma kit, looked at the tools available. It was not ideal, not even close. But she had worked in field hospitals during her training, had seen doctors operate in worse conditions. She could do this. Lily sat in the corner, quiet, listening, her blind eyes staring at nothing. But Claire knew the girl was aware of everything, could hear the tension, the fear. Claire spoke to her as she worked. Lily, I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to talk. Tell me a story, anything. Just keep talking so I know everything is okay. Lily was quiet for a moment, then started speaking. A story about a white rabbit with pink ears who went on adventures. It was childish, simple, but it filled the cabin with something other than the sound of medical instruments in Dante's labored breathing. Claire made the first incision. Dante grunted. Vincent held him down. They had morphine in the kit, enough to dull the pain but not enough to knock him unconscious. Dante needed to stay awake, alert in case something went wrong. The bullet had passed through clean, no fragments, but it had nicked the peritoneum, the lining of the abdominal cavity. Blood was leaking into places it should not be. Claire needed to find the bleeders, clamp them, stitch them. Her hands were steady. 2 years of abuse had taught her to work under pressure, to function when her hands were shaking, when her heart was racing, when fear threatened to overwhelm her. She pushed it all aside, focused on the work. Clamp, Vincent handed her the instrument. His hands were as steady as hers. Decades of violence had taught him steadiness too. Claire found the first bleeder,
We have a
clamped
situation.
it, tied it
I
off,
need you here
found the second,
immediately.
the third. The blood flow slowed, then stopped. She irrigated the wound, checked for other damage. Everything else looked intact. Lucky, a few centimeters in any direction and the bullet would have hit something vital. Now came the hard part. Closing. She needed to stitch multiple layers. The peritoneum, the muscle, the fascia, the skin. Each layer needed to be perfect or infection would set in. She worked for 2 hours. Her back ached, her hands cramped, but she did not stop, did not falter. This man had saved her life, had protected her sister, had given her a chance when she had nothing. She would not let him die. Finally, the last stitch. Claire stepped back, pulled off the bloody gloves, looked at her work. It was not pretty, but it would hold. Dante's eyes were closed, his breathing was steady. He had passed out sometime during the closing, the morphine and blood loss finally overwhelming his will to stay conscious. Vincent touched Claire's shoulder. You did well, child. He will live. Claire nodded, then walked outside, into the cool night air, and vomited. Dante woke to sunlight streaming through a window, birds singing, the smell of coffee. For a moment, he forgot where he was, forgot about the attack, the escape, the surgery. Then the pain in his abdomen reminded him. He tried to sit up, failed. A hand pressed him back down. Claire's hand. Don't move. You'll tear the stitches. She was sitting beside the bed, dark circles under her eyes. She had not slept much, had been watching him, making sure he did not develop fever, did not show signs of infection. How long? 2 days.
We have a situation.
You've been drifting
I
in
need
and
you
out.
here
The
immediately.
morphine. Dante looked down at himself, bandaged, shirtless, weak. He hated weakness. The others? Safe. Vincent and Mateo have secured the cabin. Noah is monitoring police scanners. Lily is teaching Vincent how to make proper tea, apparently. Despite the pain, Dante smiled. And Victor? Claire's expression darkened. Mateo says he's gone to ground. No movement on his properties. No contact with his lieutenants. But he's planning something. Mateo can feel it. Dante nodded. Victor would come again. Stronger, more prepared. This was not over. But for now, they were alive. Claire reached out, touched his hand. It was the first time she had initiated contact. Dante felt something in his chest. Not pain, something else. Thank you for saving me. You saved me first. We're even then. No, we're not. Dante looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had texted the wrong number, who had accidentally stumbled into his life, who had performed surgery with hands that had been broken by the man she loved, who had faced down Russians and helicopters in chaos without breaking. What do you want, Claire, when this is over? When Victor is dealt with? What do you want? Claire was quiet for a long moment. I want Ryan in prison. I want Victor to pay for what he did to Isabella. And I want Lily to grow up in a world where she doesn't have to be afraid. That's what you want for others. What do you want for yourself? Claire met his eyes. I want to stop being a victim. I want to be the woman who fights back. The woman who doesn't run. The woman who saves people instead of needing to be saved. Then that's what you'll become. A week passed. Dante healed faster than Dr. Aris predicted. When they finally got him on a video call, the surgeon was impressed, demanded to know who had performed the operation, insisted on seeing the sutures. When Claire showed him over video, Dr. Aris was quiet for a long moment. Miss Ashford, you should consider becoming a surgeon. This is exceptional work for field conditions. Claire felt pride, real pride, for the first time in 2 years, but healing was only part of the preparation. They were planning. The cabin became a war room, maps spread across tables, photographs of Victor's properties, intelligence gathered by Mateo's network. Ryan Callahan had been arrested. The photographs and medical reports had been enough. He was being held without bail. Assault, attempted murder, corruption. The charges kept growing as more evidence emerged. Other women came forward. Women Ryan had dated before Claire. Women who had been too afraid to speak until now. But Ryan was small. Victor was the real target. They gathered around the table. Dante, Vincent, Claire, Mateo, Noah. A family forged by violence and circumstance. Dante laid out the plan. Victor has 3 safe houses in Chicago, warehouses where he stores guns and drugs and money. We hit all 3 simultaneously. Burn his empire to the ground. Force him to come out of hiding. That's suicide, Mateo said. He'll have 50 men guarding those locations. Then we don't fight fair. We use the police. Anonymous tips with evidence. Let the cops raid 2 of the warehouses while we hit the 3rd. And which one do we hit? The one where Victor will be. The one he thinks is safest. How do you know where he'll be?
We have a situation.
Because I'm going to give him a reason to come out.
Immediately.
Dante looked at Claire. I'm going to tell him I'm willing to negotiate. That I'll trade you for peace. Claire's blood went cold. No, it's bait, Claire. You won't actually be in danger. I'm not being used as bait. Then what do you suggest? Claire stood, walked to the window, looked out at the lake. She had been thinking about this for days, thinking about what Vincent had told her, about gray areas, about survival, about doing what needed to be done. She turned back to the room. We don't give him me. We give him Ryan. Everyone went silent. Explain, Dante said. Ryan's in custody, but Victor needs him silenced. He knows too much. If Ryan testifies, he'll expose Victor's entire Chicago operation. So Victor will try to kill him. And we let him try. We transfer Ryan from county jail to federal holding. We leak the route. We make it look vulnerable. Victor will attack the convoy. And when he does, we'll be waiting. With the FBI. With evidence, with everything we need to put Victor away for life. Dante leaned back, studied her. You want to use Ryan as bait. I want to use him as justice. Vincent laughed. It was a deep, genuine laugh. The girl learns fast, nephew. It took 2 weeks to set up. 2 weeks of careful planning, of coordination with FBI agents who hated the Romano family but hated the Russian mob more, of leaked information carefully placed to reach Victor's ears. The convoy would move at noon on a Wednesday. 2 police cars, 1 armored van. Ryan Callahan would be transferred from Cook County Jail to federal holding in Michigan. The route would take them through industrial areas, away from civilians, perfect for an ambush. The FBI would have agents in the area, but not close enough to prevent an attack. Just close enough to respond when it happened. And Dante's people would be there too, hidden, watching, recording everything. Claire insisted on being there. Dante argued. Vincent argued. Even Noah argued. But Claire was immovable. I need to see it. I need to see him face justice. Otherwise, I'll never be free of him. So she went. She rode in an unmarked van with Mateo and 2 other soldiers, positioned on a rooftop 3 blocks from the planned ambush site. She wore a bulletproof vest, carried a gun that Mateo had taught her to use. was prepared. The convoy appeared at 12:03. For 6 minutes, nothing happened. Then the attack came. 3 SUVs roared out of side streets, blocked the convoy, men poured out, 20 at least, armed with automatic weapons. They opened fire on the police escort. But the police were ready, bulletproof glass, armored doors. They returned fire. Professional, controlled. The armored van carrying Ryan tried to reverse. One of the Russian SUVs rammed it. The impact was massive, metal shrieking, but the van held. Then Viktor Petrov stepped out. He was not supposed to be here. The plan had assumed he would send men, that he would stay hidden. But Viktor had come himself, had not been able to resist the chance to eliminate Ryan personally. It was his last mistake. FBI vans appeared from both ends of the street, agents in tactical gear, dozens of them, surrounding the Russians. "This is the FBI. Drop your weapons." The Russians hesitated. Some dropped their guns. Others raised them. Chose to fight. The firefight lasted 30 seconds.
I need you here.
It was not even
immediately.
close. The FBI had numbers, position, training. When it ended, 12 Russians were dead, 8 were wounded. Viktor Petrov was on his knees with 3 agents pointing guns at his head. Claire watched through binoculars, watched Ryan being pulled from the armored van, watched him see Viktor in custody, watched the realization hit him that it was over, that he had lost everything. She felt something, not satisfaction, not joy, something quieter, closure. Mateo's radio crackled. "It's done. Victor's in custody. Ryan's being transported. All targets secured." Claire lowered the binoculars. "It's over. The trial lasted 3 months. Ryan Callahan pleaded guilty to avoid testifying. Took a deal, 25 years in federal prison. No chance of parole for 15. Viktor Petrov went to trial. The evidence was overwhelming. Weapons trafficking, drug distribution, murder. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Life in prison without possibility of parole. Claire testified at both trials, told her story, showed her scars, looked both men in the eyes and did not flinch. When it was over, when the verdicts were read, she walked out of the courthouse with Dante beside her. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashed, questions shouted. "Miss Ashford, how do you feel?" Claire stopped, looked at the cameras. "I feel free." That was the quote that appeared in every newspaper, every news broadcast. The woman who had survived, who had fought back, who had won. The Romano estate was rebuilt, stronger, more secure, but also different. Dante had made changes.
We have a situation.
The legitimate
I need you
businesses were
here
expanding.
immediately.
Construction companies, real estate development, restaurants. He was keeping his promise to Isabella, going legitimate, one step at a time. Claire and Lily lived there now. In the East Wing, Lily was in a special school for blind children, thriving, learning Braille and mobility, talking about college, about becoming a teacher. Noah had graduated from Northwestern, was working for Dante's tech company, legitimate work, legal work, but still family. Vincent was there too, playing the role of grandfather, teaching Lily Italian, teaching Noah how to cook proper pasta, keeping everyone grounded. And Claire. Claire was different, stronger. She had gone back to nursing, but now she also trained, worked with Mateo, taught self-defense classes to other survivors of domestic violence, helped women escape, protected them when the legal system could not. She wore the emerald dress Dante had given her on special occasions, wore the raw diamond necklace every day, symbols of survival, of transformation. Tonight was special. The Isabella Romano Foundation was opening, a center for survivors of violence, for children who had lost parents, for families torn apart by crime. It was housed in a renovated building on the south side, where Isabella had always wanted to help people. The ceremony was at 6, media present, politicians, donors, people who wanted to be seen doing good. Claire stood at the podium, looked out at the crowd. 7 years ago, Isabella Romano was killed by violence. For 7 years, her brother carried the guilt of not being there when she needed him. Then one night, a wrong number changed everything. She paused, found Dante in the crowd. He was standing in the
We have
back,
a situation.
letting her have this
I need
moment.
you here
This
immediately.
foundation exists because Isabella believed in second chances, because she believed that even in the darkest moments, hope could survive. This building, these programs, they're her legacy, and I'm honored to be part of it. Applause, cameras. The mayor gave a speech. A senator gave a speech. Everyone wanted credit for something good. But Claire knew the truth. This was not about politics. This was about the woman in a bathroom, the man with a dead sister's phone, the wrong number that became the right answer. After the ceremony, they had dinner. Not at a fancy restaurant, at the estate, in the family dining room. Just the people who mattered. Dante, Vincent, Claire, Lily, Noah, Mateo, healed and back to full duty. Dr. Aris, who had become something like an uncle. A few of the soldiers who had become friends. They ate Italian food, drank wine, told stories, laughed. Lily raised her glass. A toast to family, the kind you choose. Everyone raised their glasses. Even Mateo, even the soldiers who were trained not to show emotion. To family. They drank. Later, Claire found herself on the rooftop. The same rooftop where the battle had happened. It had been repaired, cleaned, made safe. But she could still see it. The blood, the K. The moment she had stopped being a victim. Dante joined her. They stood in silence, looking out at Chicago, at the city that had tried to break them both. Do you regret it? Dante asked. Texting that number, Claire thought about it. About everything that had happened. The violence, the fear, the pain, but also the strength. The family, the purpose. No, I don't regret it, even though it was the wrong number, Claire smiled, especially because it was the wrong number. Dante's hand found hers. She let him take it. They stood there, two broken people who had found each other by accident, who had survived by choice. Inside, Claire's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, looked at the screen. It was Isabella's old phone. Dante had given it to Claire months ago, said it belonged with someone who understood its meaning. There was a new message, from an unknown number. Claire opened it. Help, my boyfriend is hurting me. I don't know who else to call, please. Someone, anyone. Claire showed the message to Dante. His jaw tightened, then softened. What are you going to do? Claire was already typing a response. This is the Isabella Foundation. Tell me where you are. I'm coming. She looked at Dante. Will you drive? He smiled. The first real smile she had seen from him. Not the cold smile of a mafia boss. The warm smile of a man who had found purpose. Always. They went inside. Told Vincent they had to go. He nodded, understood without asking. This was who they were now, who they would always be. The people who answered the wrong number. The people who came when no one else would. The people who turned mistakes into miracles. Claire and Dante walked to the garage, got into a car, entered the address from the text message. As they pulled out of the estate, Claire looked back. At the mansion, at the lights, at Lily waving from a window, even though she could not see them leaving. This was home. This was family. This was everything she had never known she needed. The car accelerated into the night.
We have a situation.
Toward another woman,
I need you here
another
immediately.
crisis, another chance to save someone the way Dante had saved Claire. The wrong number had become a hotline, a beacon for the desperate, a promise that someone would come. And Claire Ashford, trauma nurse and survivor and warrior, was ready. The Isabella Romano Foundation had expanded to 15 cities, helped thousands of families, saved hundreds of lives. Claire ran it with the efficiency of a trauma nurse and the determination of someone who had survived hell. Lily had graduated college, was teaching at a school for blind children, had written a book about her experience, about the night her sister texted a dead woman's phone and everything changed. Noah had married, had a daughter, named her Isabella, the cycle of legacy continuing. Vincent had passed peacefully in his sleep at 73, died knowing his nephew had become the man he was supposed to be. Not just a mafia boss, but a protector, a builder, a father figure to dozens of lost children. Mateo was still head of security, gray-haired now, but still capable, still loyal. And Dante. Dante Romano had done the impossible, gone completely legitimate, sold off the criminal enterprises, kept only the legal businesses, built an empire that no prosecutor could touch, because it was clean. He and Claire had married 3 years ago. Small ceremony, Just family, no press, no politicians, just the people who mattered. They lived in the estate, raised foster children, kids from broken homes, kids who needed second chances. The house was full of noise, of life, of hope. Isabella's phone stayed charged, stayed active. Messages came regularly now. The number had
We have a
spread through
situation.
underground
I
networks,
need you here
shelters, support
immediately.
groups. Women passed it to other women. A secret, a lifeline. Help, I'm scared. My husband has a gun. Help, I can't leave. He'll find me, help, please. Anyone. And someone always answered. Sometimes it was Claire. Sometimes it was one of the counselors at the foundation. Sometimes it was volunteers. People who had been saved and now wanted to save others. The wrong number had become the right number for thousands of women. And every time Claire answered, every time she typed the words "I'm coming," she thought about that night, about crawling across a kitchen floor, about texting with broken ribs and a collapsed lung, about the man who had answered when he should not have, about the miracle of mistakes, about the beauty of second chances, about the truth that sometimes the worst moment of your life becomes the doorway to everything you were meant to be. Claire Ashford had texted the wrong number and found her purpose, found her family, found herself. In the end, that was the only number that mattered. The end.